Okay, so we ended the last video here with two separate parts, right? But if you've seen a gravy drive, you know that there are more parts within the chassis than just these two pieces, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to bring these two parts into an assembly because the front and the back of our drivetrains are identical. And the same is true of the inner and the outer rails. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to our assembly. And I am just going to select this guy. And I'm going to move him away from the origin. Actually, I'm going to leave him at the origin. My bad. All right, I'm going to go up here to insert. Notice how it allows me to insert the entire part studio or an individual part from the part studio. And when I select it, I can either move it around, or if I go back into my dialog box, it allows it to go to exactly the same origin as in the part studio. I'm gonna press enter. Boom. Now, one of the things that we didn't do before that can be particularly helpful when you go from one assembly to many assemblies is creating a reference cube so that all of your constraints can be done off of reference cubes. You can mate the reference cubes together. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here to sketch off the top plane, and I'm going to do a rectangle to make a reference cube. We're just going to do a 1-inch cube by a 1-inch cube. We're going to hit enter. We're going to extrude this 1-inch cube down. The reason we extrude it down is because we want the reference cube to signify the ground as well. So we want it below the lowest plane. We're also going to we're going to go over here, and we're going to, in this top dialog box, we can click the pencil button and we can write what this feature is. But this allows us to sort through the feature side a lot easier. And then we can rename the part itself. Reference cube. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my original sketch, and I'm going to break one of these. Break this one, I think. There we go. Okay, so I need this to be in a different spot now. I need the origin to be higher. So I'm going to delete this, and I am going to draw a new rectangle. And it's going to break my extrusion, but it's okay because I can select it later. In this case, I'm going to do width. Oh wait, move this up here. I couldn't use that variable because it didn't exist yet. I'm still going to edit this though. Delete this and start over again. This time I'm going to make it a 2x1, and what I'm doing is I'm going to give it some height off of the origin. In this case, I'm going to go width divided by 2, enter, and then I'm going to go, this is really what I want. I don't want it off of that. It's the wrong dimension. I want it off this face. I want this to be 2 inches. Right? 2 inches or 3 inches. In this case, I'm gonna do 3 inches off of the origin. I'm gonna do I'm gonna do 3 inches off the origin, and I'm gonna do minus 0.125. I'm gonna do minus, and I'm gonna create a new variable. Drop center. I'm gonna do 0.125. That is my cat, my parole officer, telling me it's time for bed. All right. Notice how I did an equation in there. You can do that sort of stuff. You can do 3 inches minus drop center, and notice I had to define each half of it. So like it knew that the variable was in inches, but I had to define that the other number was also in inches. Okay, and then I'm gonna press OK. It's gonna break everything. Not to worry, I go back here, I edit my extrusion, it's missing a face, I select the new face, I click OK, and I fix the tube conversion, because now I have a new part. I click OK. I fix the sketch, new plane. This can no longer be constrained properly, so I delete it. And I press I, select it, select the corner, click enter. I edit the sketch. I select this plane right here. These 2 points can no longer be used because they're invalid. So now I need to notice how I was not afraid to break the sketch. And now I'm going to edit this. It's complaining that there's no scope. So I select the scope of the part and I press OK. Okay. I'm going to go back into my sketch and I'm going to edit this variable right here, and I'm going to make this my drop center. This way I can change it in real time and I can see it change in real time. Now what I'm going to do, just to visualize things a little bit easier for you guys, I'm going to create a sketch here, and I'm going to use the use button. Click here. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click here. I'm going to press U for use. Notice how it just created 3 circles. I'm going to press the C button for a circle. I'm going to click the center. I'm going to increase this, increase this, increase this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to define these as 6. This is just for visualization purposes, so we don't have to make it a variable yet. Okay. Looks like at 9 inches, we're too close. We're going to hit. That means that we need to go smaller. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our sketch. We're going to change this wheel spacing. Oh, actually, it's already defined as a variable. We can go over here. We can change wheel spacing. I'm going to change it to 8. Boom. Look at that. Now maybe we want to change these to, say, wheel size. New variable. You go ahead and change all 3 of them to wheel size. And what this does is this allows us to visualize it with a sketch, right? So if I change my drop center let's say I change my drop center to 0.25. Let's say I change my drop center to 0.25. Now you can see it a little bit more significantly. Notice how it is lower. And if I increase, or if I decrease my drop center, let's say I change it to 0.125, notice how it's bigger now. Okay, I am going to go back to my, I'm going to go back to my original sketch. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. And I am going to change this, because this should be plus. This should not be minus. And the reason I know that is because it is showing me on the visualization that it was underneath the reference cube. So I made a mistake. So now that I've corrected that and made it plus rather than minus, you can see that it's contacting the ground perfectly. So this would be a visualization with an 1/8 inch drop on 6-inch wheels. And then if we change this to, actually let's do 1/8 inch, that's good. Let's change these wheels to 4-inch wheels. Enter. Now you can see we're at 4-inch wheels. I need to modify my height indication here to be wheel size, but I can't because it doesn't exist yet. So I need to move my variable to the top. And just so that I have no more conflicts, I'm going to move all my variables to the top. I'm going to go back to my sketch. And I'm going to say, I'm going to change this 3. This 3 is half of my original wheel size. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to do parentheses. I'm going to do wheel size divided by 2. Okay, now you can see that it dropped significantly. Go to my right-hand view. Notice how it lines up. I should see the same thing happen if I change this to 6. Boom. Perfect. And this is how you really use variables to your advantage. Excuse me. This is how you really use variables to your advantage. Okay. And now let's say I want to take this gravy drivetrain and I want to bring it into an assembly to actually do stuff. I can go over here. I can, we're going to go ahead and delete this and we're going to reinsert it. Okay, we're going to insert the whole parts studio. Yep, the whole part studio. Not 8 times, we're just going to do it 1 time. Click OK. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to fix one of these. I typically fix one of the side rails. In this case, I'm gonna fix the front rail. Okay, I'm going to fix that rail to the ground. That way it doesn't move. Okay, that means if I select it, I try and move it, it's not going to move, even if I want it to. If I select this one, I can move this one. I should be able to move this. Not exactly sure why I can't. But anyways, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to do a mate off of the face. Uh-oh. I'm going to do a mate off the face. keeping in mind which side is the top. Okay, I'm going to do a mate off the face, and I'm going to mate off this face. Okay, you can see how it snapped together. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click offset. This allows me to change a mate. Mates are how we constrain multiple objects inside of an assembly. In this case, I was using a fasten mate. I want to be using a planar mate. I'm going to offset it by 3 inches in this case. And I'm going to offset it the opposite direction. So I'm going to offset it -3 inches. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this again for the next direction. Notice how I can still move it in this direction. Now what I'm going to do is now that I have this defined in free space, I'm going to go mate, fasten is okay. I'm going to select, say, this edge. I'm going to select this edge. I'm going to say solve, and it solved it. It didn't solve it in the way that I wanted it to, but it solved it. I'm going to fasten then this corner to this corner. I'm going to click solve, and it failed to solve. Why did it fail to solve? A lot of this is troubleshooting. Solve. Failed to solve. Interesting. It must be this mate here. Oh, it is that mate there. It's this one. So I'm going to mate this first. Boom. Fasten can only be used with, it can only be used one time. Fasten does not like other different types of mates. It's supposed to speed up the process. In this case, I'm going to fasten this to this, and I'm just going to do an offset. I'm going to give it an offset. Notice how this direction is X. I'm going to give it -3. Boom. Seems to be correct. Click enter. I could have also used 3 planar mates there, but instead I just used 1 fasten mate. Okay. The cool thing about this is I can then import this a second time and do all of this again. So I can just copy my 26, copy tube, paste tube, right? I can mate this corner to this corner. Click OK. Boom. It's in there. Now I can do it again for my other 2 tubes. My 24s. Copy. Paste. Paste. It pastes where your cursor is, by the way. And I can fasten. I can press M. Fasten to this corner. Okay. Enter. Now this one is going to be tricky again, right? I'm just going to select this edge, select its matching edge on the inside, and then I'm going to give it an offset in the Z direction, or I mean in the X direction. Do an offset of 3. Turns out it has to be 3, not -3. I'm going to hit enter. Boom. That's a gravy drivetrain. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this back a little bit. And I'm going to unfix this tube. And I'm going to constrain the front of the robot to the tube, to the cube. I'm going to constrain the front of the cube to the tube. So this should be always offset by, in the Z direction, I should be offset whatever my width is. So in this case, I am 26 in my width divided by 2 minus 0.5. So in this case, I'm going to do 12.5. and I'm going to go in the other direction. Oh, in this case, I need to mate this to the origin somehow. I need to mate this to the origin. Am I able to mate that to the origin? No. Okay, I'm going to fix the reference cube. I'm going to fix the reference cube, and I am going to mate the front of this. I'm going to offset it in the Z direction by 26 divided by 2 parentheses minus 0.5 parentheses. Yep, so that should be working. And then I'm going to go up in the Y direction by my, whatever my drop is. Whatever my Z drop is. My Z drop is 3.1. 3.125. Oh. My 3.125. Enter. So now this should be in line with the ground. And we could have edited the reference cube portion afterwards, but it's just good to do it immediately when you have a chassis. Now what I'm going to do, before I put bearings in, before I put axles in, I'm going to go ahead and mount my gearboxes. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a mate. And I'm going to do a mate. So you can either do this with a revolute. If you did this with a revolute is like putting a bolt through a hole. You would have to do 2 revolutes on, like, say this one and this one. In this case, I know my hole pattern is right. I'm going to just do a fasten mate. I'm going to do it on this edge of the front circle. And I'm going to fasten it right here. Notice how it snapped to position and it's completely wrong. I'm going to flip it the other direction. And now I'm going to rotate it. Boop. Now it's correct. Look at that. I'm going to hit solve. That'll bring those back over. And I'm going to hit enter. All done. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go through... I'm going to end this video right here. And next video we'll go through how to make our axles. And then we'll cut that out into its own sub-assembly. But this is where we'll stop off for right now.